last week I made a Zoro video talking about, based on 997, if we decide to downplay it, Zoro's strength, we could still make sense of everything that happened, and Zoro doesn't have to be as strong as Kaido. Kaido doesn't have to be losing to Zoro at the end of that. Zoro doesn't have to be that strong to pull off what he did, and kind of downplaying it to them, as much as possible. And I also asked, based on the comments of that and the comments of like my last video, I think it was, asking if I should do like a Zoro power scaling video, I decided that I'm going to make a Zoro power scaling video. And just talking about where I think Zoro actually is, according to me and everything I've seen in the story. Right, now before we get on to that, guys, I think by the time this video goes up, we should have around 68 subs. So guys, whoever wants to be the 69th on this road to 75 subs, please feel free. It's you. I know it's you right now watching this video. It's you. I know you haven't subbed yet. I've been watching you. But also, guys, for those of you who are not up to date, I'll put a spoiler tag below. You'll know where you need to be. As with all my videos, I always put spoiler tags in the description. But back to this video, right? I feel like there was something else I was supposed to say. Oh well. Back to this video. I think that one thing to remember throughout this video is that my power scaling is very dynamic, so it depends on how I'm feeling. Also depends on what we've seen from Zoro and all the feats and stuff that can definitively put him anywhere, right, in the power scales kind of thing. So sometimes some stuff will happen, but it's not definitive stuff, right? It's something that could be taken either way. So based on stuff that I see, and also based on like other stuff, it's where I decide how I power scale. Another thing to know about me is that I believe in portrayal over feats, right? I believe in the way Oda portrays his character more than the stuff that they've actually shown, stuff that they've been said to do, specific things. I believe in that more than actually saying this character specifically did this, right? That being said, right, let's have a think about Zoro, because I haven't thought like every detail of this video through, but let's have a think about Zoro. Right now, based off of just the setup between Luffy, Kid, and Law, my natural assumption is that Zoro is weaker than all three, right? So that is my base assumption all the time. Zoro is weaker than Luffy, Kid, and Law individually, right? So whenever I see Luffy, Kid, or Law lose or seem like they're losing, I assume that Zoro is no different. Whenever I see them winning, I assume Zoro could be. Another thing I assume is that, generally speaking, Zoro as a fighter should be better than most, if not all, the other Straw Hats. Jinbei is a bit of a weird one, but most, if not all, the other Straw Hats. And I think that he is, as a person who is striving to be the strongest swordsman, one of the stronger supernova. I'd say in the stronger half of them than the weaker half, right? So that being said, at least among the supernova, let's start there. Among the supernova, I would generally put Zoro somewhere after the three of them, like after Luffy, Law, and Kid. Maybe Urouge, maybe not. It's a bit hard to say, right? But generally, I would put him definitely somewhere there, not too far behind. It's a bit hard to do this because there's no physical numbers we can use. Based off of, kind of the portrayal of Zoro being someone who's not too far from Luffy's strength, maybe sometimes even perceived as equal to Luffy and capable of doing the same things. I feel that even though Luffy has had, this growth, it doesn't mean that no one else has had growth like similar to Luffy in this time, just because we haven't seen it, just because they haven't said they're going to this extremely difficult fight. I think that this is where the portrayal, my belief in portrayal over feats comes in, where I believe that because Luffy's had this growth and Oda has kept the portrayal, everyone has had that growth, right? Maybe we'll get details on how exactly they had that growth, maybe we won't. But I believe that everyone has had that growth because the portrayal remains the same. Right, so Kid and Luffy, the portrayal has remained the same. So Kid has had the same growth that Luffy has had, Law and Luffy is a bit similar. Luffy and Zoro, it's the same thing, right? It's not like Zoro has now been portrayed to be much weaker than Luffy in any regard, right? It's not that he's portrayed to have fallen far behind. So I don't believe he has. I believe he's also had similar growth through obviously different experiences. He's had a lot of shine in Wano, right? Taking down Samurai, fighting the several supernova, fighting against the Oniwaban. He's had, multiple moments. I said the supernova, right? So he's had multiple moments where he could fight, where it has tested him. He probably hasn't had an all-out fight to test him, but I feel like all his little fights have tested him in several different ways. Maybe sometimes it's just, his base form. With Killer in that fight, most of that fight, if I recall it correctly, didn't have Haki until Zoro's last move. So that fight, you could say he's training his base form. That fight helped him do that, right? Obviously, the power-up with Enma plays a role into his Haki on that side as well. And then his battle sense, his experience fighting. By fighting a lot of opponents, he's gaining experience in fights and learning how to, pace himself, how to attack, how strong to do his attacks. All these little things, I think, kind of justifying why Zoro is probably not as far behind Luffy, right? So up till now, I think that if Zoro had to go against someone like Doflamingo, going through some of the villains now, I think that at this point, I would be surprised if Zoro lost to Doflamingo. Someone like Cracker, I would be surprised yet again. Thinking that Zoro has better armament Haki than Luffy. Is that crazy? No, I think it's to be expected. I think it's weird to think of it the other way. I understand, right? Because if you're looking at actual feats, Luffy's the one who learned it, who we saw learn it. But I would be surprised given the other things that have been said around it. One, that Luffy spent the 2 years training 3 types of Haki. One, like Conqueror's armament and observation. Zoro learned 2. Basically, Zoro had more time to learn armament than Luffy did. Second reason, armament is Zoro's speciality. It's not Luffy's speciality. So, yeah. Simple as that. 3, learning to let your Haki flow, as they call it in Wano, the Ryo, and doing that is essential to being a swordsman. So Zoro learning that is integral to his swordsmanship ability. So thinking that Zoro has, I wouldn't say had advanced armament Haki, but I would say had a better grasp of armament Haki and even much superior armament Haki than Luffy is not a stretch, right? So I think on that hand, he beats Luffy, and that also plays into role that fact. I think that, he's definitely stronger than Cracker now. Although I do think at this point, personally, if Zoro got into a fight with Katakuri, he would lose. No, wait, would he lose? It depends. He may lose, he may not lose, right? If he did fight, it would be one of those fights where Zoro would have to surpass his limits several times, kind of like how Luffy did. Because as much as people want to talk about Katakuri, and now the fact that Luffy beat him and he's gotten much stronger means Katakuri's not that great, I think Katakuri has a lot of experience that Luffy doesn't have. Katakuri is almost 50 years old, people. Katakuri is older than Shanks. He's older than Shanks. Let that sit in. I think he has so much experience that just because you now outmatch him in armament doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a victory over Katakuri. So Katakuri is like, if I'm not mistaken, he's as old as Aokiji. Or like 1 year. There may be 1 year like difference there. But so just think about how much experience Aokiji has and saying Katakuri has the same amount of experience being Big Mom's first commander. So yeah, I think that if Zoro fought Katakuri right now, I think their stats are such that Katakuri overall would win. But I think that if he did fight Katakuri though, I think it would be a very difficult fight. And he may be able to pull one over and win against Katakuri, get that W. Does that mean that Zoro is right now as strong as Luffy was when he fought Katakuri? No. I think Zoro is stronger. I just think that battles are more complex than saying that because Zoro is not definitely stronger than Katakuri, he has to be as strong as Luffy was pre-Wano. I think it's a bit more complex than that, right? So once again, with Katakuri, I don't think that he's definitely stronger, but he could be stronger. If they had a fight, he could surpass his limits and be stronger. Cracker, definitely stronger. Doflamingo, definitely stronger. Someone like Jack, I think he's stronger, no doubt. Queen, definitely stronger. King, I put him somewhere similar to Katakuri in strength. I don't know who's stronger. Maybe Katakuri may be stronger, right? Since I think Kaido is stronger than Big Mom, then somehow to offset it in my head, Katakuri has to be stronger than King. I don't know. But I think they're very similar in strength, and Zoro would have a similar matchup against King, where he'd have to surpass his limits once again and beat King. But as they are now, King's stats are higher than Zoro's. That's where I place them. Based off the feats we've seen of Zoro, I think it lines up. Another thing that you have to, think about, right? Even though you've seen a lot of Zoro's feats, me placing him beneath Katakuri in terms of stats makes sense to a degree, because look at everything Zoro's done. Can you definitively say that Katakuri could not do any of that, right? Can you definitively say that some of these other people I've named or I've said Zoro is weaker than cannot do any of that? Yes, it's impressive. Yes, it's cool. There's no doubt. But I think there are other characters who can do similar things, right? Or maybe with the similar amount of ease or difficulty. So far as Zoro is presented. Also, it lines up with how strong I think Luffy is, where Luffy, is stronger than Katakuri and King, but he's not that much stronger. So you kind of have Katakuri, King, and some of these first command as a buffer between Zoro and Luffy right now. And that kind of keeps the balance, right? I think that overall makes sense. So once again, I think I should end the video here. Someone's car is going off outside. I don't have a car, so it's not mine. But tell me what you guys think. As always, like and subscribe. Tell me what kind of videos you think I should make. I have many ideas, but what would you guys like? As always, help me get to 75. It's honestly the greatest milestone ever. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth about Zoro, please share this video with them. If if you have time, watch one of my other videos. If you haven't watched the Zoro video where I downplayed him, go watch that one as well. Then, watch others as well. Thank you for watching this video thus far, guys. This is King KZ, and I'll see you in the next one.